Hello, everybody. This is Angel Ribo from Dallas, Texas, with Expansion Network, accelerating the consciousness of humanity. And as you know, I am known here in the business world in Dallas, in the US, as the CEO confidant, and also in Latin America as the founder, co-founder, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation. We help underprivileged kids in Latin America become entrepreneurs using their local resources. And if this is Saturday, and it is indeed Saturday, April 24th, 2021, it means that we are actually conducting along with Judy Machado from Ontario right now. Are you in Ontario or have you moved?
I'm in Toronto, yeah.
Okay, so she's in Canada. We're actually performing a reality check in the world, how to live the world without fear. Mm-hmm. And for the second week in a row, she's in the same place, which is not typically the case, but she's there right now. Judy, thank you. Welcome to Expansion Network. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you so much again, Angel, for putting this beautiful event together so that we can get together. You and I just love being around you and your presence, your beautiful heart, and also for so many others to come together and to create a beautiful place where we can be in a space of expanded awareness, a space of expanded love, expanded truth. And it's so beautiful. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you. Actually, very often, let me share a story, an anecdote with the audience today. Very often, as someone that is continuously online and performing and doing interviews and interviewing amazing people just like you, very often, I'm being asked, when I don't have a background like this, electronic background behind me. By the way, I'm just realizing it's in Spanish, so I'm gonna have to change it into English. I just had an interview. It is what it is. I just had an interview in Spanish, so it's changed. And very often people ask me, hey, how do you design your set, right? I mean, you're behind, and I'm saying that because there's actually people that do that. They're set designers and they design exactly the set behind you. And I'm saying that today because your set just behind you is just amazing. It looks like you've spent an entire week setting up this incredible, background with this, one of my favorite plants. It's called in Spain, I don't know how it's called in Canada. It's called in Spain, the Adam rib plant. That's how it's called in Spain. And there's these wonderful flowers and, well, what else can I say?
I think there's a nickname for it. It's called Swiss cheese because it actually looks like Swiss cheese, right?
Oh, okay.
It's so beautiful. But you know what? This really is just my couch. And what I did was I put this really thin table behind the couch. You can see the white table right over there. And then stuff behind it. So and I love plants. I also have another one of those plants. I don't know if you can see it right there. Oh, it's a little bit, there's so much light there, so it's hard to see. But another one of those plants there. And one of the leaves, these plants are gorgeous. Again, everything we ever need to know, we can just look at nature and see it. And these plants, so different the way they grow. So there's like the stem, like one of these stems, and it kind of gets thick on the stem and then it separates.
Exactly.
But it's like rolled really, really tight.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it starts open. So it's already big by the time it opens, just really tight. And then it starts to unravel, and then it becomes this huge, beautiful leaf. So I just experienced that this week, which was so beautiful. It's like like a message. I came back, left literally paradise and freedom, physical paradise and freedom out in southern Albania, where I was for about 6 weeks, and before that, so a couple of other countries, and came here to the restriction, right, and saw this plant, and it was so restricted when I first arrived. I've been here for 10 days now. And then this past week, it just started to loosen up every day, loosen. And now it is the most gorgeous, light green, shiny, beautiful, fresh, big leaf. And what a message to us, right? We grow from restriction, from tightness, restriction, dark places, not sure what's happening, no idea what's coming, to then being the most magnificent expression beyond what you can, like if that plant even knew what it could look like. It is the most beautiful big leaf. And that's what evolution is. And that's what's so interesting with what's happening in the world. We think that we wish that we don't have challenges. We wish that we don't have problems, we don't have challenges, when it's the problems and the challenges that create change for us humans. That's because everybody's just programmed. We're all programmed. We get comfortable with our programs. Some of our programs, we don't even know what's going on. Most of our programs came when we were kids. Some of it's happening from, like, for example, TV. If you watch the news, you're constantly being programmed into one story. And so when we actually stop and think about our thoughts or think about our statements, our facts, when we share a fact, which is a belief, that's coming from somewhere. And we can actually stop and say, oh, isn't that interesting that I just stated this? Where am I stating this from? And not just where did I get it from? Because it doesn't matter what you're looking for, you will find truth in that. If you believe that what's happening in the world is for the greater good, this global crisis, you will find truth in that. And if you believe that there's another agenda, you will find truth in that too. So the thing is, it's going into your heart and just feeling, especially all the new restrictions, all the new things, where is this coming from? And then, it's realizing that this is all just part of a collective, right? This is part of the collective consciousness. We are each individually experiencing our own journey in consciousness. Everyone's experiencing different levels of awareness, different levels of consciousness. And then what's happening in the world is like the average of it, which is which we call the collective consciousness. So when you look at the, one of my favorite books, I don't actually have it with me, is Power versus Force by Hawkins. David Hawkins, I think is his name. Oh my God. Talk about understanding consciousness. And when I read that book a few years ago, that was the best explanation in terms of how we move into different levels of consciousness, how we tend to fluctuate between a few, right? Because we kind of live here mostly in this consciousness, but then we're listening to amazing higher consciousness things. So we're kind of up here, but then we watch the news at night. Oh, we get dropped down here. The lower levels are like fear, anxiety, all these different levels of consciousness. Then we start moving into love. And when you start to understand that, you really start to having a real appreciation and understanding and awareness of what you're taking in. You start to actually very quickly see, where is this coming from? Is it coming from a lower level of consciousness, or is it coming from a higher level of consciousness? And one of the beautiful things about cacao that, as you know, I love ceremonial cacao. It's changed my life. And I keep getting beautiful messages from the cacao, the spirit of the cacao, the consciousness. And one of them is, every time I make a statement, including what I'm about to say right now, which is that when I share a belief, I always back that up with, this is my belief right now. And I am willing to change that belief based on receiving new information from a higher state of consciousness, not from a lower state of consciousness, from a higher. So I am therefore inviting, because we have free will, I'm inviting higher states of consciousness to share with me new information. And the moment that has been transforming, just to make that statement myself, every time I catch myself making sharing a belief or a statement, either to myself or in person, such a beautiful example of inviting source really to support us in expanding even faster. We're basically saying we're ready and open. I do have a belief right now. I absolutely have a belief right now, but I'm also I'm open to changing that belief based on information from a higher state of consciousness.
It's amazing the way this conversation is going today. I have to say that every single Saturday when we meet, we really allow ourselves to really go out and explain what we have lived throughout the week and what has happened in our lives throughout the week. And every week is different. And it's fascinating to hear you after having been, as you said, literally 10 days. When you go back to Canada, are you allowed to get out of home, or can you actually go out?
So the mandate is that you have to go to the hotel quarantine. That is like the mandate. And that's what they say is law, but it's actually not law. Again, we have to understand and truly research what is law and what is really mandates or bylaws. So when I came in, I politely declined the quarantine, got a big ticket, but that's going to get thrown out of court because it's against the Charter of Rights as a Canadian citizen. So I'm at home for 14 days. I've not left my home. I go to the front. I have this little patio in the front of my house. So I sit there. I have my coffee every morning. So I've not left my house. I am planning to continue to be here until I reach my 14 days, which is this Wednesday coming. then I'm super excited to get out and go for a walk and see the sunset at a park nearby on Thursday. So again, things like this, you know what? I had this beautiful realization this week, like, and I thought of this before, but it was like at a cellular level, it was understood, and I truly felt it, and I believe it. And that is this: I no longer wish for what's happening in the world, the bigger, the people behind this, which are creating control and manipulation. I no longer wish for it to be over. I wish for the incredible transformations to happen to every single one of us from these restrictions, from what is being created around us. That's what I wish now, is for it to happen, for everyone to experience massive transformations, to shed who they think they were based on the programming which was created by all of this, start to shed it and create a whole new earth, because this really is the only way that we will come together and create a whole new earth, because otherwise everything was just convenient. Everything was just happening as is. We were just following orders, and we're just part of this illusion. So that was an enormous realization for me this week, was, you know what? I don't wish for it to be over. I just wish for my continued shedding and evolution, and everyone else's. And that's why, we know everything is divine all the time. Everything's divine all the time. So at some point, even though this really, the people who are creating this, it's not coming from a place of the greater good, the bigger reason, again, when we expand even more, this is creating an opportunity for everyone else to realize the divinity in this, in us creating a new life for ourselves, in whatever that means.
Judy, I think that we should frame that. We should print it and frame it. And actually, honestly, this is one of the most powerful statements about what's going on in the world. Exactly. We are definitely living a divine plan. And that's the divine plan we're living right now. And everybody is living it in a different way. And I think that the implications and the consequences of living in this for a long period of time is going to cause a lot of, as you said, shedding from, for a lot of people. And the more it continues, the more it's going to happen. So, so I actually, those words really hit home here too. So thank you for, thank you for sharing it. And, I'm a very, for some reason, I am a very obedient guy. Okay. So when Judy and I started to work together, and I started to drink ceremonial cacao, and I want to share this experience, it's really amazing if you close your eyes and you really tune into the cacao when you're drinking it. And I drink it sometimes with water, but I prefer, as you know, this special, plant-based milk that I have discovered. The experience really, it's amazing. I had never felt the connection with something like I have felt with the ceremonial cacao that I got from you. And I was feeling so down this week because I was running out of it. But I said, no. This is a realization that I have to continue, and I have to keep on connecting with the ceremonial cacao. I'm one of these kids that I grew up with cow milk, in Spain. I was drinking milk, and my mom would say, every single day, several glasses of milk, and with eggs, actually, and with cacao, with a lot of sugar, but refined, mixed with sugar cacao kind of thing, blah blah blah. Then you realize that actually pasteurization actually makes the milk lose absolutely all the properties, so that actually the human body, and people don't know, but the human body actually does not absorb anything, any vitamin or the calcium from the milk when we drink it. And contrary to common belief that we think that milk is giving us, that typical milk is giving us calcium, actually our body does not absorb a single trace of calcium of pasteurized milk. That's why if we wanted to drink milk, actually, we should drink raw milk if we wanted to, if that was our choice.
Yes.
But anyway, and also that starts, I think that starts us also on, as the ones that we drink, ceremonial cacao, also starts us on a journey of tuning into nature, tuning into the rest of food that we eat. And a good friend of mine the other day, he was watching our program, and he said, hey, we are in reality, we are light beings, and light comes from, from the green stuff. Light comes from the ones that live out of light, which are the plants, which are the, the vegetables and the fruits and everything. So it's amazing how we have been forgetting that the light comes from photosynthesis, right? And that's what the plants do, right? And we avoid that, and we should be more and more and more and more related and more in tune with raw stuff. I think that the new label that we should look for in the supermarkets, in the grocery stores, is actually raw.
Right.
Raw. That's why whenever you guys receive a bag, one of the shipments of Judy and her ceremonial cacao, you will see how fancy. Let me tell you a secret. Actually, I never threw away the bag, exactly, the packaging, because it seemed to me so absolutely authentic. It seemed to me like I was in Peru. I was in Peru, like being handed that bag directly from one of the indigenous community members into me, literally. And I've kept it. I mean, I folded it and I kept it. Really, I kept it on my side table next to my bed, literally, because I think there's some magic there. And so I really encourage everybody to obviously to try and go to your website and order ceremonial cacao and experience the difference. And I just did something which I had never done before. While you were talking before, I did something that as a host I should have never done, as a co-host in this case, which is actually I texted my wife and I asked her, hey, can you please have one of our kids to go to my car to actually grab one of the books I have been reading lately?
Yes.
Because you started talking about the levels of vibration. Interestingly enough, I literally started for the second time to read a book from a guy called Frederick Dodson called Levels of Energy. Levels of Energy. And guess what? He starts the book. It's an amazing book. I mean, this gentleman, Frederick Dodson, is amazing. He's known as the reality creation coach. But this Levels of Energy book starts with literally giving numbers, a grade, to the different states that we are going through every single day. Yes. And the number the grading system that he puts to every single emotion. And I'm going to read it, right? Just as another example, okay? So he basically, to different states of mind, he gives a grade about the energy level, right? And he actually, I'm gonna go from 30 up to 1,000.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah,
30.
exactly.
So let me tell you, I'm gonna share that if it's okay with you, Judy.
Beautiful.
Because I mean, again, it's amazing how things play out in our show. Anyway, so number 30, which is the lowest of the lowest levels of energy: guilt, shame, psychosis, humiliation, and hatred. And let me tell you something, guilt. Recently, someone very close to my family conducted an experiment with 100 plus people in the world. And the experiment was, he put out there four different ads, like literal commercial ads, to see what was the most appropriate manipulation strategy on an ad to make people buy a product. The product was a cell phone. And he found out that guilt is the most common used and accepted way of manipulation and continuously adopted by people. Guilt, guess what? Guilt is a 30, is the lowest level of energy, okay? I'm gonna go up the grading system, the rank. 50 is apathy, despair, depression, hopelessness. 80 is grief, sorrow, self-pity. 100 is fear. 100 out of 1,000. 100 out of 1,000. No wonder. No wonder. Okay, Judy. Right, Judy?
Yeah.
Fear,
Right.
worry, shyness, inferiority, paranoia. 120, craving, need, compulsion, unfulfilled desire. 160, anger, domination, aggression, coldness. 180, antagonism, criticism, discontent, complaint, blame. 190, pride, superiority, arrogance. And those are the low levels of energy. Now I'm going to the mid levels of energy. 200, contentment, routine, functionality, boredom. 275, courage, relaxation, eagerness, fun. 320, willingness, kindness, optimism, activity. 320 out of 1,000, okay? Now, 400, acceptance, interest, attention, neutrality. 450, intelligence, knowledge, reason. Those are the mid levels of energy. Let's go to the high levels of energy, starting at 475, joy and creativity. 505, beauty, imagination. 510, power, initiative, integrity. 530, love, intuition, appreciation. 540, humor and happiness. 550, unconditional love. 570, ecstasy, exaltation. 600, bliss, peace, serenity, lightness. 700, oneness, non-duality, vast awareness. And finally, 1,000, infinity and divinity. And that closes down the list of high levels of energy. So it's amazing how we are all connected and how low our energy levels or our vibration or is all day long. And as you said very well, we are programmed. We are programmed to be in that place, right? We are programmed to be in that place. That's why surrounding yourself with plants, and there's books written about this, the secret lives of plants, the secret life of plants. There's amazing, beautiful books. Actually, many of them were written typically 20, 30, 40 years ago, and they are still so valid. If you read one of them, I read one a couple of years ago. Amazing. Every single reason that you have to connect with nature and you can connect with, and be surrounded by those plants. I see that you have another plant, big plant, in the other side of your background, and really, I mean, exactly. So and
so many around the property too. Love big trees and plants and everything around the property. I have this one that reminds me of Avatar. In a few weeks, it's going to grow into these almost like a poof ball. Remember in Avatar, whenever there was like someone special, that kid, the guy who was the main character, every time he was around the girl who was an avatar, these things would appear. And that's how she knew she couldn't kill him. This was a sign from the gods that there was something special in him. So beautiful. But you know what, if I can share too, because I love that you brought up the different levels and you talked about the different levels, because the importance of knowing that information, I believe, is the first step, so that you can go, okay, really low levels of consciousness, guilt, shame are the lowest, guilt and shame. So if you think about, okay, every time I turn on the TV and I watch the news, there's guilt into not doing this or not doing that. There's shaming. There's shame on you with this, the left versus the right versus the whatever. Everything's shame and guilt. Shame on what's happening in the world. Shame and guilt on how dare you not do this or do that, or your decision is this or that. Again, as we move up higher, love, light, sovereignty, living from bliss. And I remember reading that 700 and above is prophet level, like the prophets who've become prophets, and then up until 1,000 when you become enlightened and you move on to another school, right? This is Earth school, and this is what we're here for. And then perhaps there's another school out in the galaxy that you move and do this whole thing all over again, but in a different way. But how exciting when it's kind of like school. I'm going to be, moving into these stages, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. And that sometimes I might be in grade 5 But doesn't mean I'm there entirely, because sometimes I kind of fluctuate because I'm hanging around and watching the news. I'm hanging around people who are only bitching and complaining. But sometimes I listen to amazing prophets, people of higher consciousness. Who am I listening to? Oh, now I'm fluctuating up here. The more you do that, the more you actually start to raise more permanently into those levels. And that's what I love about cacao, because cacao will take you, it removes the veil, because each level of consciousness we can't see pretty much beyond a couple levels around up or down, right? Because it's like the stage we're in. But cacao removes the veil. So now we're seeing in higher levels of consciousness, and we're going, oh my God, that crazy story that I have around my sister-in-law, or that my mother, or whoever it is, wow, I see their perspective now. I don't quite believe in it or understand it, but you know what? I see that they're actually coming from a place of love. I can let it go. I can get rid of my story, because that story is holding and keeping me from having more love in my heart. And it's so beautiful. Again, I truly love that you brought that up, because, and I wish for everyone to learn more about that, to educate yourself on the levels of consciousness. These can be calibrated. You can be calibrated. These can be calibrated. In fact, David Hawkins, when he wrote the book, and I think it was republished or re-edited, rewritten by him, I believe it was in the early 20s. I'd have to double check that. But at that time, the collective consciousness, do you know what it was calibrated at? Okay, you just talked about 30 to 1,000, right?
Yeah.
Collective consciousness. So basically anything that's happening at a global level is coming from this place. 108.
Wow.
So do you see why, like, again, we go back, I'm not a religious person. I grew up as a Jehovah's Witness. I left when I was 18. I know all the Bible stories, and I love now to hear the stories again, because I see them from a different place, right? I see them from a more expanded place. And the story of Jesus, Jesus, where he said, be from this world. What is it he said? Be from this world, but not of this world. So literally you were born here, but don't be part of that collective. Do your thing, be part of your shine who you really are. And what an incredible way of realizing that the more we start listening, taking part in this, no wonder I just came from 3 different countries where no one in those countries wanted to talk about COVID. They didn't care. They were like, what? Oh, what's going on in Canada? Oh, okay, sorry to hear that they're in lockdown. Anyway, let's keep going to the beach. Let's keep doing whatever. And the cases were so few. There was very little happening. Why? Because no one's talking about it. Everything is energy. When we put energy into something, we create it. It's a law of attraction. We know that. There are so many universal laws. That's one of them. Whatever we focus on, we create. What's happening here in Canada and so many other countries? 24/7 on the news. Most people listen to the news because most people believe that it's 100% true, and that they're 100% working in their favor, and everything they're doing is for the greater good, when most of it's calibrated from a place of guilt and shame. So when you study this and realize, wow, I'm in grade 5 or 6 or whatever grade I'm in, I'm definitely not grade 1 and 2. So would I want to listen? Or, you can listen, but would I want to make decisions based on that? No, that's why cacao, the messages I get from cacao are unbelievable. And one of them, like I said, at the beginning of this beautiful call, was creating a statement, sharing my belief, but always realizing that there are so many levels above me. Are you kidding me? I need to humble myself and realize that I don't know anything. Yes, I have an opinion, but there's probably other reasons or stories or perspectives going on. Therefore, I will share my perspective. And at the same time, I will declare that I am open to enhancing, changing this belief, changing this perspective, so long as it comes to me from a place of higher consciousness. So therefore, I'm inviting that to show up and nothing else. And that's what I call the magic carpet ride of evolution. Because when we say everything we say and share, everything comes out of our mouth and our thoughts, we create. So when we're inviting this, we're inviting evolution. Beautiful evolution going up. Evolution again is EVOL. Evolution, EVOL, love spelt backwards. We have to experience challenges and shit and problems in order to experience love. We have to learn it from backwards. So evolution. And so how can we get into a place where we realize, okay, what's happening in my life right now, this current challenge, it's a gift in some way. Maybe I don't know how or why, and I can't even understand how this could possibly be a gift, but you know what? I'm accepting that everything is divine all the time. And so I'm accepting that there is a gift in here, even though I may not see it in this moment. I'm excited to hear and see, and I invite any kind of awareness, expanded awareness, so I can realize this. And instead of saying, I wish this would end, because now we're not surrendering into it. We're fighting against what is here for us.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing so much. I would definitely love you if to share, please. Where can people find you? Where can people buy Ceremonial Cacao?
Yes.
What's the best way? You know, once they buy it, what they're gonna get with the shipment? What's the best way to drink that cacao and to prepare it? Please share that, because people need to know. Please.
Of course. So goddesstemplecacao.com is the website. I have the products individually, but I also have this thing called the starter kit. The starter kit is small sizes of the tea, the powder, and the paste. With that, you get this gorgeous email with all of these things, the videos, how to make it, a little separate guide, how to create it, a hypnotherapy track, a meditation that you can listen to if you're doing your own little ceremony and you're not quite sure what to do in the ceremony. You can sit, you can drink, and then listen to this meditation. It takes you even deeper. So all of the stuff that comes with that. And actually, I was just thinking before our call, Angel, that I'm going to get you some more cacao, because I was just thinking, why don't we, from now on, at the end of our call, we can just do a little cacao blessing. We can both have the cacao with us together. We can do a little blessing. It doesn't matter if anyone listening has cacao or not. It's all beautiful. You'll just be part of this beautiful blessing. Ideally, you might have cacao and you're going to join us. And if you don't, that's okay too. And just a beautiful way to end our call, or even start our call, with just a little acknowledgement, a little bit of silence, a little acknowledgement, a little bit of a statement and intention that we're open and ready to hear, see, know, feel new perspectives from a higher place, higher consciousness. We're all open and ready. We all intend to be in this place. We're grateful, and then we drink, and then we start our conversation. So beautiful.
Awesome. Is there an email address that people could use actually to reach out to you directly if possible?
Yes. It's Judy, Judy, at justjudy.ca. So JUSTJUDY.ca. Judy.
Awesome.
Judy.ca. Yes.
Thank you. It's amazing how good is this doing to you. I mean, it's amazing how you said it very well. How, like, when you're being pushed, like, and you're being obliged to do something that is not nature, it's just natural, right? It's not in your DNA, in your personal and in our DNA, right? When these amazing things happen, and when you have these epiphanies, and when you have these experiences, but obviously you have to allow yourself to be in that place of discovery, of humility, of just wondering and opening yourself for other possibilities. So
and you know what, anyone who's interested to learn a little bit more too, because I'm telling you, cacao, because of the levels of consciousness, and we want to get up here, but it's like, well, how do we get up here? Well, one of the fastest ways to do that is to allow these plant consciousnesses, plants who we think are like, whatever, plants, are you kidding me? Plants are here to help us, to support us. There's a consciousness in every single plant and fruit. So when we allow these plants to take us into a higher place, so with cacao, drinking it every day, imagine this happening every day, where this plant is lifting, literally removing the veil for you every single day a little bit. So you can be like, oh, and the more that happens, the more you raise in consciousness. And so anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about that, I also have a free guide on my website. So you can download that. It's beautiful. It's a double-sided guide. Please go ahead and get that. It's so cute, and it's got lots of information on there, even the recipes on there if you want to make your own. So it's all beautiful. Exactly.
So actually, let me share it with the audience this. And I don't know if it's going to be, you can see it, right? So you actually get this amazing morning cacao ritual 20-day calendar. It's literally a 20-day calendar with this amazing, I mean, there's nothing left, it's like, look at this. This is just this amazing, just watching it. How much did the ancient civilizations know that we don't know today? That's what makes this, your ceremonial cacao, so amazing, that you took the time, you learned about the industry, you were involved in the industry, you learned about it. And then you ask yourself, how can I do better? How can I find the best of the best? How can I find the one which is going to take us to a place where actually ancient civilizations used to consider cacao also a sacred plant?
Absolutely.
I mean, this is exactly what it was. So, and you get this complete guide here. Sorry, I have a background here, so there's someone. Yeah, the video is the software. The algorithms are hiding kind of hiding it. Excuse me. Anyway, beautiful presentation, and
Wow.
and yeah, actually, you even write a commitment. I mean, so there's a lot of things here. So I always carry it with me on my journal. This is always every single day with my journal. I carry it here inside my journal. So yeah, absolutely. It's definitely part. It's definitely part of my life. So I really ask you to do the same thing. Open yourself to possibilities. If you think you've already eaten and tried everything related to cacao, think twice, because I think you're missing out on something. And this cacao has something special to it. So Judy, again, it's been a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you.
Exactly. I keep on, by the way, I keep on receiving, talking to people from many different places in different countries. Just this week, by coincidence, I was talking with people in Ecuador, people in Guatemala. Amazing. So we will keep on bringing people to the show from other places. I definitely believe that timing is always divine. And I think that this week we had to do this show just to talk about these amazing coincidences and synchronicities and discoveries and epiphanies that we had this week. So thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you.
In my name and Expansion Network's name, thank you everybody who's been with us. I'm sure that you have enjoyed this conversation. And as you know, and as we promised to you, next week we will start doing actually small ceremonies with you with the ceremonial cacao and how to do it. And, whatever you have available, please come to the show and do that with ourselves. And if you're watching the replay, do that also. It's always a good time to do this. And we do this on Saturday. So, it's this day of the week in which you are relaxed. You're thinking yourself, it's good. It's Saturday. And you're not stressed thinking of tomorrow is Monday, right? So it's good. It's good. Saturday is the perfect day of the week, Judy. So this is amazing. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here with us today. I'm sure that you have enjoyed our conversation as much as we have, and we hope to see you soon again with Judy Machado next week on the Reality Check on the World, living the life, living your life, living the world without fear. Have a wonderful week and see you soon. Bye-bye.